man, like with all the resources available, that D'Onofrio has to be such a tool, because you can get on the phone and talk with Jimmy Johnson, Ray Lewis, Sapp, Ed Reed, all of them. And they would all be like, oh, let me explain to you what you're doing wrong with Chicolo or this and that. And you can take the advice or not. But the fact that D'Onofrio and Golden stood there with their arms folded and were like, no, this worked at Penn State or wherever they came from, or Temple. And you're like, the Miami and Tri-County, Palm Beach, Broward, Dade, those football athletes, they're different than anywhere in the country.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like I'm not a huge recruiting guy or whatever, but you see like the Tate Martell's highlight reel from high school. Dude, you're doing that there.
Yeah.
Now come here and do that. Do that at Northwestern. Like, it's a different game. It's a really different game.
Yeah. And, I mean, nothing says defense like good old New Jersey style Al Golden football, right?
Man, that was a sad era.
Yeah, it's working well for him as the tight ends coach of the Cincinnati Bengals or whatever he's doing now.
I mean, those doofuses were like when Jersey Shore came and did the season in South Beach. Like, oh, you're going to rent the convertible, drive up and down Ocean Drive, dance and fist pump till 5 a.m, but you're a visitor here. You're not one of us. No, people, locals don't do that. We don't spray tan, and wear rave sunglasses and do all that. That's for people to come out of town and do that. And you're like, you see Golden and D'Onofrio and was like, you guys don't fit in. You guys don't belong here.
Yeah.
And it didn't.
Yeah, man. I mean, I'm with you 100%. I'm so happy for, I don't know. I mean, I complained a lot this offseason. I was very excited about Rhett Lashley. He was my dude, but I was kind of just in the mindset of like, I'm not going to buy into this until I see it. We've been disappointed too many times. I bought into the Dan Enos thing, and it's a great product. I couldn't be happier with it. And mostly that, as Roman brought up, he's the type of guy who, one, is going to cater his offense to his personnel. You can see because, I'm borrowing the terminology that Roman just gave me. The 12 set with 2 tight ends, like he's willing to push that because our 2 best pass catchers are tight ends. And he's willing to run the ball for 400 yards in a game because it's working, right? Because that's what the defense is giving him. And as common sense as that sounds, we just haven't seen that here. And that is mind-blowing. It's the type of thing where you just have to scratch your head and just be like, well, why? Like, if it's such common sense, why wouldn't you just do it then?
It goes back to De'Ara King. You got to have the dude that can do it, that can pull it off. You never know what concepts they were trying to run last year when the coach turns around and the quarterbacks are poking each other with pencils and stuff, and you're like, guys, like one special quarterback, no matter where it is, you look anywhere around college football, and you get that special quarterback, and you can do serious damage. Drew Brees at Purdue, Favre at whatever Mississippi school he went to and ended up beating Florida State. And you know what I mean? You get that special quarterback, and Miami's just gone so many years without having that kid that pops. They've had some guys that can throw it and some ballers and this and that, but not the complete package where you're like, oh, this kid's smart. He gets it. He doesn't panic. And, he's going to run into some adversity. Yeah. You know that. Like that Clemson game, that's going to be brutal. But I feel a lot better going into it with him than I did with the last couple of quarterbacks we've had, and I don't even mean to hate.
I'm with you. This is a safe space to hate on former quarterbacks because I know I've done it plenty.
I mean, like I've talked about it before on the show. I'm not a big fan of quarterbacks.
Yeah,
because they're like punters. They're not on the team.
Yeah,
they wear a different colored jersey.
Yep, they're divas.
They get treated differently.
Yep.
I didn't like that Enos guy was always like standing next to the quarterback, like talking to him in his ear.
Yep.
And that doesn't always work.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like being micromanaged
Yeah.
And I know that's the big thing now. Like the offensive coordinators, all offensive coordinators want to move up and get head coaching jobs or whatever. So there's motivation for them to flex the passing game. Yeah. And because nobody's, you run the ball, you're not getting hired in the NFL on your running ability. People want sophisticated passing attack. It's just a breath of fresh air. I'm just so glad that we've got this kid.
Agreed, man. Agreed. Well, so we're going to switch up gears a little bit now. We had Ro come on to give us some really good, technical analysis, some X's and O's, stuff like that. But now we're going to have two, just Miami Hurricanes fans on just to kind of take the temperature of the fan base. The first one that we got coming on is our guy, Ethan. He's very active on Canes Twitter. He's always interacting with us, Marsh and I. So I'm going to dial in Ethan real quick.
Yep.
Ethan, what's up, buddy?
Oh, not much. How are you guys?
Doing good, Ethan.
Not too bad. So I'm here with BetterDuck. He's helping me host today, but man, we want to call and find out how you're feeling after that Louisville game. I mean, on the road against the number 18th ranked team, we were an underdog, and boy, did we show out. I mean, 47 points. We left some points on the field. Like, tell me what you're feeling, man, because you're a younger fan, right? You're kind of like me, so this is a foreign experience. Going on the road in prime time and kicking some butt. So tell me how it feels, man.
I tell you what, it's relieving to finally get to see something like that. I mean, we got to see it in 2017, but outside of that, it's been scarce. I mean, really not at all. And I'm so happy with that win. The offense, my goodness, 47 points. Yeah. I couldn't have dreamed of it. I thought I was expecting about 30, but 47? Whew.
Yeah.
Impressive.
Yeah. So I'm curious as to how you felt going into the game. I was a little more outspoken about the UAB game not being very impressive to me. I understood that we took what we could get with the run game, but I thought our defense was a little mushy. We didn't really take advantage in the passing game at all. So I was very concerned going into this Louisville game, but I want to get your take. How did you feel before the game?
I couldn't agree more with the UAB game. I agree. The defense looked mushy. I felt like we looked slow. I thought we looked slow. It wasn't inspiring, and I was very nervous going into the Louisville game. And, I asked you guys that question. I'm like, how much can really change? And to you guys' point, I didn't really I didn't really look into Louisville. And when they opened up the game on TV, and they're like, they were showing the stats, and, Tutu had 1,200 yards receiving. Javian Hawkins had, I can't remember how many yards. He had a lot of rushing yards. And Malik Cunningham had been impressive. And I was like, oh, man. I was nervous. I was like, goodness, these guys, I didn't do my homework on these guys. We haven't fared well in prime time, but.
Yeah. Well, so last episode we had Cam Underwood on, and Duck, this is a stat that I want to share with you because I just want to hear your reaction to it. So I think it was since 2005. So it's since we've been down a little bit. On the road versus ranked opponents, Miami was like 3-24.
Wow.
Yeah. And that sounds about right, honestly. And that was going into this Louisville game. But, on Twitter, I made the joke that in my time as a Miami Hurricane fan, which I really got into it around 2005, 2006, in my time as a Canes fan, I said it feels like we're 3-46, when we play in prime time at night. And the only wins being Virginia Tech and Notre Dame in 2017, and then the Ja'Cory Harris game in Tallahassee on Labor Day night. I think that was like 2009 or 2010, something like that. But I mean, Duck, how does it feel like you hearing that stat? Because you were around for our most dominant periods.
Well, yeah, like, everybody says, and I have fun on Twitter, and then there's a lot of people that are like, oh, Duck's too negative, this and that. Well, you should have seen me on the AOL boards back in the early 2000s. It was the exact opposite.
Yeah.
I was unbearable on the other degree, you know? So, like, you got to put it in some sort of context, right? Like, everyone likes to say, oh, that we've stunk for 20 years or 19 years or whatever it is. Well, there was the 5 years of probation, and probation hurts.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's a punishment, Yeah. And maybe the SEC can skirt around it and still be undefeated during probation years and stuff, but Miami couldn't. And there was like a 2-year cloud on either side of the probation.
Yeah.
Or the 2 or 3 year cloud leading up to it, where we were self-imposing and skipping bowl games and all that stuff. So it ended up really being like an 8-year sentence. Probationary period. So you subtract that, and now it's okay. Now it's down to we've had 11 bad years, which is still too much. But they've made, like we were talking with Roe, we've made some horrendous coaching decisions, hires, and then those coaches have recruited the quarterback position poorly.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a killer.
Yeah.
Like, you should just keep recruiting quarterbacks over and over until you find the guy or identify him. Like, there's not always a Tebow or a Andrew Luck or somebody, but we got to do better.
Agreed, man. And Ethan, I want to kick it back to you. So after watching the first 2 games, I want you to tell me what aspects on offense and defense, so multifaceted question, what aspects you're most excited about and which aspects give you the most anxiety, or which are you most worried about for both sides of the ball?
All right, so I obviously I think we're most excited about Derek King. He pretty well. I mean, it appeared like we didn't really open up the passing playbook against UAB, which probably is why he only had like 145 yards. But he was good on the ground. He's just looked amazing. And then, oh my goodness, his connection to Brevin Jordan Saturday was thrilling. Finally we've got a guy that's going to take advantage of having a stud tight end like Brevin Jordan. It was just awesome to see. And I tell you what, the offensive line, I think we gave up a sack early, and I was like, oh man. But as the game progressed, you could really see the improvements. We were holding up in pass protection, which wasn't existent last year.
Yep.
It didn't happen. I'd say offensively wise, what I'd be a little worried about, and that can change. The wide receivers, we didn't see a lot of them, in my opinion. We saw it was nice to see Mark Pope get involved and make some plays, although he had that one drop that went right between his arms, and I was sick about that one. I was like, oh, you gotta catch that.
Yeah.
My goodness. But the offense just looked explosive. It was amazing to see, and I was watching the game. I was a little upset with us running those inside zones. And in fact, I was watching Roman's YouTube account and his student of the game, and he was talking exactly about that, the inside zone. And he's like, well, some people were upset about us running it over and over again. And then he pointed out, and I mean, educated me. Run that over and over again, and the defense begins to look for it. And then we do that. We run that play action, and we hit Jalen Knighton on that 75-yard touchdown.
Yep.
I mean, just brilliant.
Yeah.
As far as defense, that run defense is bothering me. It is bothering me. I don't know. It was just getting gashed. It felt like. I thought the pass defense played well. Bubba Bolden, my goodness, that man is a stud. He was all over the field and in critical spots. I mean, it was a thing of beauty. Our pass rush, I thought, looked as good as we kind of expected to be. I thought Jalen Phillips looked better than I had anticipated. For a guy, that hasn't played much football, that's been off for a long time, I wasn't overly impressed with our pass rush against UAB.